Well, hi, gang. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78 and Methods. Hope everyone's ready for the comfy Sunday hour. Tonight, we're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be chilling with you guys. We're going to be talking about whatever we want to talk about. Of course, how can we not talk about some geopolitical events that are dominating the news landscape at the very moment? But I just want you guys to know that we're gonna take it easy. We spend all week digging, diving, producing, making the best possible content for you guys that we possibly can. So tonight, I want you to think of this as if you're just hanging out with us, listening in on a conversation that my good friend and fellow researcher Methods and I are gonna have, talking about whatever. Because oftentimes we will just sit around and shoot the proverbial you know what. All right, guys. Hopefully, everybody got the notification. If you guys would not mind helping out, making sure you like this video, make sure you share it on your favorite social media platform. Put it out there for us, you guys. Help us break through those algos. Tell your friends. Let them know that it's time for the RP78 and Methods Comfy Sunday Hour. All right, guys, without further ado, please welcome my friend and co-host, Methods.
What's going on, Red Pill YouTube chat? Hope everybody's comfy. And let's see what we can get into, man.
All right, sweet. Well, I alluded to it a little bit there in the introduction. Obviously, Iran is huge, front and center right now. And we talked about it throughout the week. But so much more has happened. It's impossible not to get into it. Now, before we do, though, I want to let's just say hello to some people in the audience. I got so many familiar faces, you guys. I appreciate you guys coming out for us tonight. We've got lots of RP78 members, lots of great people here. I saw my mom. I saw Crystal Lynn. I saw JoJo K. Phil McCreevis giving us a super chat. Appreciate all the hard work from both of you. We appreciate that. You guys, I'm really glad that we had so many people waiting to just hang out with us. Well, I'm sure you saw the card for the show, and basically you got a lot of people playing Chicken Little right now. I've seen people on the right and the left freaking out, absolutely freaking out about what's happening with Iran and the reaction from the president and from the administration. And I wanted to encapsulate that because, I think that you and I don't want to speak for you, I want you to speak for yourself, but I feel like both of us look around, we see these people, their wigs flying off, absolutely, crying that the sky is going to fall, it's going to be World War III. And I can honestly say I've never felt so comfy in my entire life. I've lived long enough to see many potential, global conflicts. And, in the past, it was definitely something that I stressed about. And I wondered, what was going to happen. But I don't feel that now, Methods. Are you on the same page?
Yeah, I actually thought about that yesterday because, we've had a few days of this stuff going on. And, we get the alerts, another, drone strike or whatever the case may be. And I realized it's kind of exciting. I guess it sounds a little sadistic, but I'm really enjoying watching us be on offense in this way because I know, not to, run this slogan on the ground, but the world is watching. They're seeing Trump back things up. He's literally going through a sort of impeachment and, all this mess and, they're going to remove the president, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go deal with this Iran problem. And had no problem with it. So to me, it's that confidence I feed off of. And then watching all of these patriots, I'm sure a lot of them are listening, that are just, on Twitter, just losing their minds, excited about things. Let's do this, America first. And this is what we're doing. Because, Trump waited. They attack, oil tankers. And then the whole drone thing that happened months ago.
Oh, yeah.
All those things happened. And now we're all really, really, we understand that, okay, now when Americans die, and then boom, offense, here you go. And of course the left, they'll spin anything. The whole joke of he'll cure cancer and they'll blame him. for not letting cancer people deal with their stuff. So I'm really, really, excited to see these things on offense. And if you just watch how Iran's reacting and all their people they're connected to, it makes sense that, like, yeah, we're dealing with monsters. We're dealing with a bunch of animals.
Absolutely.
And they want to do all these attacks and stuff. But no, you're getting to see what our military is about. He built up this military over the last few years for a reason, and you're seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's no mistake that President Trump reinvigorated the military, put a lot of resources into that, not just the wall. I mean, it's very important that we have a strong protective body that's going to take care of business on the global stage and also here at home, protecting the homeland. But this, the Kate Awakening just said, it finally feels like there's an adult in charge.
Right.
I mean,
on point.
Yes, so on point. To be in this situation, I mean, where American lives have been lost, where the mistakes of past administrations have allowed for these things to kind of build up and get to this point. I mean, if President Trump did not take action, if he didn't do something to take care of this problem, nip it in the bud, then it would continue to fester. I mean, this is absolutely something that is right on for the commander-in-chief. This is what our leader is supposed to do. Now, I just need to say thank you to Lori Reimer. Also, Elizabeth G., she says, not all Canadians are dummies. God bless where we go when we go all. I've got lots of Canadian viewers, so many, many intelligent people in Canada. And then Crystal Lynn says, cute shirt. You have great taste. Very handsome. Thank you, you guys. It is a Baby Yoda hoodie. I hope that everyone can see that. I know it's a little small on the screen there, but yeah, Baby Yoda in full effect. Hang on, we'll go do this real quick. There you go. Drinking soup. Baby Yoda drinking soup.
Adorable.
And then Monica Fairchild said, love you, RP. I love you too, Monica, definitely. So yeah, I mean, what President Trump, one of the reasons I'm so comfy about it is because he's not the man who wants to start wars. He ran on the platform of getting rid of these endless wars, getting us out of this. Wait, then you shouldn't have said it. I don't know what that means. Then you shouldn't have said it. So by doing this, by taking care of this problem right now, he's ensuring that we're not going to have to deal with it in the future. Like I said, nipping it in the bud, taking care of it. So, it's going to ensure the safety and security of not only our generation, but future generations.
Right. And if you think about it, like this, and it's been said a bunch on the Republican side, he's not starting a war. He's trying to end a war.
Yes.
We know, because the previous administration, they were giving him money and, making these deals with him, and don't you dare make, nuclear weapons and all that stuff. But they hate us. They despise our existence. And especially people that are in this movement, they don't like the concept of, a God-fearing, patriotic, unified country, especially, America, and, especially connecting all over the world. I mean, I love that we're all connected in such a way that we can talk about these things and we don't get it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the idea that he's starting a war, no, he's starting the moves that need to happen to end a war that was there. And the fact that they're like Iraq's ordering, all the American, troops to get out of here, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, you can't blame Trump for, the troops coming home on this one. So it needs to happen. All
right. And Bruce Wayne is now a member. Thank you, Bruce Wayne. And Elizabeth, I guess she said that on the Christmas show, I said that Canadians were dummies. I don't remember saying that, but if I said it, I certainly apologize because I don't feel that way. I don't remember saying that, but I do apologize, guys, if I offended anybody because, I didn't mean that. Obviously, Canadians are not dummies. I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. But
I think somebody else said it in the reference to something. I kind of remember it.
Okay.
But regardless, I mean, it's behind us. We love our Canadian patriots. So.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, this is a worldwide movement, so all of us together, that's what we want. I'm the only thing I can think is, I mean, there's a difference in, attitude. I think Canadians are generally nicer than Americans. My experience in going to Canada, people are very polite. But there's a difference in awakening levels. Okay. Well, Elizabeth, I do apologize. Definitely. I don't remember saying it. I'll try to find it and see if I can get some context for it. So Donald Trump today is, sending out tweets. I'm sorry, yesterday. But Iran talking boldly about targeting certain U.S. assets as revenge for ridding the world of this bad man who has taken the lives of Americans, wounded others. Deaths of protesters are on his hands. This is a definitive move for peace. This is a person who was out there bringing strife and terror to the world. And now that he's gone, certainly somebody else is going to come up in his place. But I think that they're going to think twice about doing the same types of things.
Well, you can thread his name if you guys ever need something to dig on. Even though he's dead, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. I'd go back and dig on where he pops up on things over history, because he was involved, I think, since '97. I'm sure somebody can correct me here, but he's been doing a lot of stuff, and you start seeing him show up in federal documents of, like, we assume it was him, all this stuff. So yeah, no, he definitely needed to go.
Peace Cybers 777 said, Hanks is the first indictment of 2020, best year yet. And then Herkimer Fuddwaddle said, regarding actors and actresses, they make their living pretending to be someone and something they're not. Why should I care what they say? That's a great point. But it's funny here in America. This is a problem with America that's, or maybe it's a uniquely Western problem. Where we don't have, monarchies. I've always thought of Hollywood as like the new royalty, because instead of having like the prince and the princess and the queen splashed all over our papers, we've got actors and actresses, people who are celebrities splashed all over. And we're supposed to care about them because we are, constantly inundated with images of them.
Right. Yeah, they're paid laser pointers to keep our attention on things. Give us the narrative we're supposed to, follow. They're everywhere. And that's why when you think about, like, why did they make this movie when it's obviously bad and they put millions into it? Well, they got you to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
They kept you busy for a little while. So, Hollywood is always there as a distraction.
Definitely. Kate Awakening said, we need someone to make us feel like scum. Is that in relation to actors and actresses? Social Observer had something to say on our previous conversation. He says, I have to disagree. Iran was the most westernized country before they were taken over by the mullahs. Most Iranians welcome regime change. Oh, I think that that's totally the case. I believe that what President Trump is doing, because he's alluded to this, certainly on Twitter, saying that we are with the Iranian people. It's not the Iranian people that anybody has a problem with. It's always the leadership. And this is a huge distinction that I'm sad that I even have to make the distinction. But when we're talking about a country, we're talking about the leadership of that country. We're never talking about the people of that country. Maybe we're talking about a small radical segment within that country, but of course I'm not talking blanket about everybody in a country. It's always the leadership. It's the cabal element within the government, whether it's here, whether it's Iran, whether it's Israel, whether it is the UK, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about the people.
Right. Yeah. We refer to people, the people as patriots, and that's kind of been the blanket term itself. But anytime me and Ripple, or really anybody, when we refer to things like Iran did this, Iran, blah, blah, we're using it as a point of reference. And I know we have so many people, this movement's designed around decoding and picking apart every single word. We're human. We're going to say and refer to things as certain things, and hopefully you read in between the lines of what we're referring to. But no, we know there's patriots in every country. And anytime that we refer to a country about something they did or whatever, we're talking about the leadership.
Yeah. I just want people to remember that, because it's always the government. It's always the corrupt elements within the government. This is something that a lot of people get hung up on, I feel like. Maybe I take it for granted sometimes that people are thinking about it in the same way, and I shouldn't. But unfortunately, I'm biased. I'm coming at it from my own perspective. Most people are good. Most people want to be free. Most people don't want to be under the thumb of a dictator. They want to be able to do what they want to do, live their lives, not hurt other people. And it's a sad thing that we even have to be in the situation we're in now. But when we're looking at what's happening in Iran, President Trump is so smart. Okay, he's taking the military and is using it surgically. Any strikes that take place, I guarantee it, guys, they are going to have minimal, if any, civilian casualties. They're gonna avoid taking out infrastructure and taking out things that the citizens of the country are going to need once that despotic government has been removed. You take a look at Syria. What we did in Syria under the former administration, that was indiscriminate. We destroyed that country. And the same with any other country that we've gone through. There was nothing surgical about that stuff that happened there.
Things that were done were helping, things like the Iranian military and stuff go through and do what they do. Look at this Iraq thing. We're literally dealing with an Iranian military problem in Iraq and how much they've just sunk their teeth into it.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't have been able to do that, in my opinion, if we didn't go over there and start, because of, I guess, 9/11 or whatever, we destabilize. And then this is what's been happening over there. And this is Trump using our military and, our foreign allies to roll that back,
mm-hmm.
to pull these things out surgically. And Soleimani, the more I've been digging into him, because that wasn't a household name, I'm sure you didn't even know it, is now I'm seeing him show up in so many different places. Now, he was important because, that has to do with Benghazi.
Yes.
He was definitely involved in that. And so when I shared that clip on my Twitter of Kerry trying to explain away Benghazi and stuff like that, you understand, he then went and helped negotiate the Iran trade deal, or the Iran nuclear deal. And so you can kind of see that this has been a plan for a while to systematically do this stuff. And I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. It's been calling this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But now we are seeing how much of that was happening. We have the proof. We can look at these things, look at the actions, look at the Hollywood, the Democrats, everybody freaking out, the $80 million, bounty on Trump's head,
mm-hmm.
All these things happening. You can see that was the intention and the goal, and how little they think of the American flag.
Absolutely.
So Trump using the American flag as a signal, in even it being tied to the Q post, it makes a lot of sense. That's what we're standing for, and that's what we're fighting for.
That's right. Now, Michelle, my POV, said Trump 2024. That would be awesome. FTW Champs, good friend of the program, says, just a reminder to do research. We definitely have more than we know. I think we've proven that this week, most definitely. But we're doing it on a daily basis. So, yeah, research is so important, you guys. Research and discernment. Baby Love 78 said, you and Methods, humility has my heart. Thank you very much for that, Baby Love. Wisdom 101 said Trump 2020. Quirky follower Q joined the program. Thank you for that. Social Observer says, also, if we go to war with Iran, not having a secure southern border with Hezbollah cells in Mexico is not a good thing. Absolutely not a good thing. I heard today that that's something that's coming up right now, that they are actually stopping and holding people at the border that are trying to get in. Did you hear anything about that, Methods?
Yeah. They were talking about it, people with dual citizenship or Iranian, because there's a big stronghold in Venezuela.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and it's working its way up. So if you just look back and, hindsight 2020, no pun intended with the year, building the wall was very important, because we are kind of getting into, it is becoming a live war in this case. So no, I agree with you. And we need the wall fully, and they're continuing to build it, but it all plays a role, because down there is connected to what's happening over there, if that makes sense.
Well, when you look at the timeline of events, it's so obvious that this has, maybe this was the plan all along. We've been talking about Iran in terms of the drops for a long time. We had, everything that happened with the buildup on the border, they moved troops down there. Everything has happened on a timeline so that when we got to this point where we could safely and strategically take out Soleimani, now we don't have to worry about some of those variables. Douglas Richard Moomey says, RP and Methods, let's all pay attention. The ring on Soleimani and the ring on the hand are not the same ring. Attention to details. Look closely. Do you know anything about that? Have you heard about that?
I haven't had an opportunity to dig further, but I've had enough people point at it, Anons on the boards to point at it. Check the other hand in pictures because
Okay.
he's apparently wearing 2 rings.
Okay.
But I'm not going to sit here and say, "Hey, you're wrong," buddy. I'm just saying, as my understanding, it's a two ring situation.
Okay. Well, definitely something we'll be looking into this week. Obviously on the weekends, my work days are a little bit different. I try to take time off during the day. Let's see. Yes. Quirky Fellows Q says missiles can melt rings some. And then Tricky Hickey 3, thanks for becoming a member on the program. Appreciate that. So, the other thing that I really love, there's been a lot of talk recently openly about the fact that President Trump did not notify Congress of what was going to happen.
What a mess.
Was it? I think it was. Huckabee. Huckabee said, "Of course he didn't notify Congress. Schiff would have had a press conference beforehand." And then just completely boggling the mind, the New York Times 2 days ahead of time wrote an inexplicable article where they warned Soleimani clearly that there was going to be this hypersonic missile strike on him. And, lo and behold, it actually happens. I can't believe that they just happened to get that right. I mean, there must have been a leak somewhere, or they must have been able to listen in order to try and get that information out to him.
Why did CNN get the exclusive interview with one of the leaders over there and drop that today? Somebody, I retweeted earlier. I can't remember who. They were the ones that found it, so I just wanted to, push it out there. How do these things line up? How do you land these things when we're supposed to be technically at war with them? And New York Times, that's why I had found, or somebody had sent to me, how New York Times has even in the past admitted, hey, we had to take down this article and change it. The CIA and the White House reached out to us, and they wanted to change it even though there wasn't any classified information. We need you to redact this. So as far as the New York Times is concerned, I mean, they're controlled as, they're right up there.
In response to all this, President Trump put out this tweet saying that the only notification Congress was going to get, it was basically in his tweets. I absolutely love the fact that he did this. I mean, I don't even think it was necessary, but I mean, it's just another, big middle finger to Congress and the people that are in there.
Yeah, it was so, and you have my translation on the screen. I was just kind of joking around. But no, I mean, he's like, yeah, okay, you guys want to say this? Here's your notification. Anything I do next is Iran's fault. We're just retaliating, and it's not going to be the same kind of retaliation. We're going to take it further.
Yeah.
And here, you don't have to know, but here, now shut up. So here we are.
I mean, and the thing is, like anything else that happens next, it clearly is going to be the fault of Iran. I mean, they're the ones who wanted to take American lives in the very beginning. They kick this whole thing off. Whether you're talking about now, whether you're talking about going back to Benghazi, and probably even further back than that. I mean, they have led this series of aggressive maneuvers against the United States. And we finally have a leader in place now who's willing to do what it takes to go ahead and keep the country safe. Anybody who can't see that, it's just blowing my mind. The responses I've seen on Twitter, responses from people in YouTube videos. I just can't believe how people don't understand this stuff.
Well, we're at a point now. Well, first off, we live in this stuff. We literally swim in these waters every day. So we have to always assume that people out there don't have even a clue about a lot of this stuff, or to a degree, or they want to be ignorant about it. But if that's the narrative that they're told, or their parents tell them, or their friends tell them, we have to kind of give them that benefit of the doubt. But what I'm getting at is that this time right now, after multiple years with Q pointing things out, Trump being president, all that, we can only present things the best we can. And hopefully, we get vouched enough by, having the support of patriots and stuff like that, research for yourselves. That's why that's so important. But at this point now, it's not like, all right, leave the ones that don't get it behind. But at what point are we like, okay, you were so lost in the mainstream media fog, we don't know how to help you except just reach out a hand and hopefully you grab it. So that's, yeah. We're getting no sound.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Epic rant on mute.
Yeah, I totally, yeah. Okay, so basically, I was saying this is why I say be kind to people on social media. Because whether you're in an argument with somebody on this side of the aisle or on the other side of the aisle, it's important to allow yourself to have that kindness, because they may not be at the same level of awakening as you. This is somebody who's been lied to their entire lives. We have millions of people who have been absolutely had the fleece pulled over their eyes. And it's up to us to reach out our hands and to be kind to them and to bring them into the fold, because this is truly humanity against this, demonic cabal that we're talking about here. I did miss a couple of super chats. Hey, Jude said, Dave Yonda on SGT Report just did a great show tracing the revered leader all the way back to the 70s. Wow. That would be nice to go ahead and check out. I will. And then John Ellico just gave a super chat. Thank you for that. Let's see. And then Rusty Peterson, globalists are trying everything to take out Trump, but they will fail. Jason woke up in Vegas. What's up, my man? He says,
hey, buddy.
Two of the most honorable guardians of the galaxy I've met while along this journey. I love you both, and I'm extremely proud of you two. So is the rest of the world. They just don't know it yet. Where we go one, we go all. And then Halliburton, my favorite Dick Cheney fronted company. Thanks for your work, guys. Really helpful. Check out Halliburton50 on Twitter for a little intel I just put up on Soleimani. Okay, I'll check that out. And then Social Observer says, do you guys touch on the Zionist element? I personally try to stay away from it because in my view, we're talking about the cabal, and I believe that it has its tendrils into every single country, government, corporation on the face of the earth. So I don't feel it necessary to call out a particular religion or a particular government or people. I mean, because it's everywhere. I'm going to call it out wherever it's at. So, that's just how I feel. I think that when people get too hyper-focused on a single people or religion or government, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're going to be ignoring the fact that it is everywhere else. What do you think, Methods?
Yeah, I mean, there's just like the whole racist conversation, having white versus black or whatever. There's great people involved in every religion, and there's trash people involved in every religion. Anybody that's been a part of a major church, there's people you love and there's people you don't necessarily want to shake their hands with greeting time. That doesn't mean that they're bad people, and that might be a bad example, but as far as focusing on certain things where we just say, all right, Zionism's bad or all these things, I'm not trying to say they're okay, but no, there's evil elements that's found its way into everything.
Yeah,
we're in that time, because everybody listening right now and chatting and stuff, we all were born into this. We all can say this. We were born into this world, and we're learning in real time how far those tentacles went.
Yeah.
So me and Red Pill, and we've talked about this before, we want to focus on the conversations itself. So yeah, I mean, this goes further. There's the whole Moss conversation and this stuff. There's all these the China elements. There's so much, but we try to at least focus on a topic and just hop a couple degrees for now, especially if there are those new people out there that are listening and trying to understand things. We don't want to make references that go to the point where they just change and go watch, something else.
Right. And I honestly I know that, there are groups of people who are heavily involved in this that make up a portion of the cabal. But I think that to say that they are the only ones is to be very short-sighted. Kate said that there's a reason we need to be at that 40,000-foot view, is because it goes way beyond that. I think that there are people who claim to be certain types of people, but it doesn't matter, because that's not what they really are. I mean, their true nature is hidden behind, this false veneer. Hang on, there was a comment that I missed that I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah, Dylan said, I'm not an Iran sympathizer, but General Wesley Clark warned that we were going to war with 7 countries in 5 years, and Iran was the last country listed. To say they started it is just wrong. I am well aware of General Wesley Clark's statement and what that whole thing was about. And I definitely and wholeheartedly do not believe that what President Trump is doing now is an extension of that. I think that for whatever reason we are involved in this conflict right now, it is not the same as what the neocons were planning back then. Where POTUS is not taking us into war. POTUS is taking us as far away from war as possible. Iran was a proxy for the deep state. All right. Whatever they had wanted to do with all of those countries and, George W. Bush, all of it, this is not that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we refer to certain things in situations, you have to understand that we're trying to talk about it in the moment. We're trying to talk about things, how they are in their place. But no, we know these things have gone on for quite a long time. And as far as Trump's not starting anything, we've been in the middle of it for a while. It's just a lot of people were complacent, call them asleep, but there's been plenty of these people in this movement that's been yelling things for years. And we're not trying to, lower those people too. It's a mess because we have so many different layers of being awake and not being awake, knowing truths, not knowing truths, buying the wrong truths is another problem, because we fall into things and, we end up following people, and I'm not going to name anyone, but you follow somebody for a long time and then they name something that happens to not be true. Maybe they think it's true, but it's not. And then it's, well, they were right 99% of the time. I guess that 100% is true. And then it just becomes an echo chamber. So we're all literally trying to figure this out as we go.
And I mean, somebody mentioned baiting, and I clearly believe that is a part of it, because there has been a concerted effort to set up certain holy grails that you're not allowed to talk about. And as soon as you look at one of those things, then you are torn down immediately for doing that. So this is part of that 40,000 foot view. Why are you going to focus on this single thing when you can look around you and legitimately say that this is not just a single person or a single group of people? This is pretty widespread. I mean, this is quite literally everywhere. And what President Trump is doing right now is freeing not only America, but humanity in general from whoever this group of people is. And just because they identify publicly as a certain thing, I do not believe that's what they are behind the scenes.
Yeah, strip it down to good versus evil.
Yes, that's what it is.
And leave it at that. Like, I'll always lean into the spiritual side of things the best I can. I might not be the best representation. Just read my Twitter. But, this is good versus evil just in general. And I don't want to strip it to that and say, don't think about the rest of this stuff. The 15 dimensions of things that we're talking about. But it's a good versus evil thing. So you take that and not focus on the labels and all that. And to me, that's how I stay relaxed about things, because I'm like, all right, evil's doing this. Let's understand about that evil. What's the connections? What are they doing? All right, what's the good side doing? Okay, these people are doing this. Well, I remember these good people doing bad things before, so let me keep an eye on them. And it's a lot of different layers, and that's why we all lean on each other.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to touch on what happened in Kenya today. And I'm getting that post pulled up here in just a second, 974. But in Kenya, there was an attack on an American contractors, or was it American airfield or Kenyan airfield?
I think it was contractors. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Two American contractors.
Yeah. And the interesting about this is that I was looking into this earlier, and I had a great researcher. A lot of people that I do work with ask me to remain, keep them, they just want the info out there. But there's a bunch of great people, and I know a lot of you are listening. You guys help me make it, understand all of this stuff when it's over my head. So I love you guys for that. But that Al-Shabaab has actually been questioned as recently as 2017 for taking over an area that is connected to having uranium, and they're mining it out there. And the questions that got brought up to, like, whatever, I guess, agency that would be over it, was we believe that they are sending this stuff to Iran. So let's take that at face value. They were already breaking the Iran nuclear deal that they backed out of, quote unquote, today.
Yeah.
No, the Al-Shabaab is connected to that because of the shipping routes. It was I can't remember. I guess it's Red Sea or something, but they were known for that. So the fact that they just went and attacked, an obvious retaliation, is, they are connected to Iran. And what I've been finding is that not only are there multiple, you get into all the different Muslim, Islamic, factions of things, but they also have nicknames. And they're also spelled with, like, one's with one A, but you could search it as 3 A's. There's all these different things. But yeah, no, that attack out there, you can directly connect to Iran.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think White Hat earlier in the chat said that we've got 4 people over there in Kenya today already. He dropped it earlier, but I don't know if that was, KIAs or if that was arrests. And he says contractors and normally ex-military there. So after they leave the military, they have the chance to do work out there for no taxes, which is a great thing. Rusty Peterson said Trump needs to make justice great again. I mean, that's, one of the things I'm so comfy about. I believe that that's happening. Richard Cook, thanks for the super chat. Tricky Hickey says, great first show. Looking forward to many more. Kanish, thanks for the super chat. And Arizona Girl USA asks if we think that POTUS did this action to get us out of there, as he has been trying to get us out of there, as he said. There is no win long term. I personally, I don't want to know what you think about that, Methods, but I don't think that I think that if we can help reset the balance in Iran and the Middle East, because we've got so many groups, we've got militia, rebels controlled by Iran, by the Revolutionary Guard. If we can reset that balance and get rid of them, then I don't think there's a need for us to stay over there. And I think long-term the goal is for the Iranian people to take back control of their government. I will never deny that the clowns in America set into motion the events that basically have us where we are today. I think that this system of global destabilization is one that is, concerted, and they've been working on it for a long time. Because if they can keep everybody on their toes, everybody is, got their, weapons of mass destruction pointed at each other's throats, then that ensures that they're going to have people, with a need for this military-industrial complex, and it's going to establish a need for the clowns in America to be, over there continuing to do ops. It allows for them to do their gun and drug running, the human trafficking, all of it.
Right. Yeah. If you think about, like, to use the Hollywood example again, the laser pointer, and how Q is referred to, and it's pretty obvious that, our tax money that's going to, quote unquote, help these other countries is getting, washed around and ends up paying other situation. It was the, I think it was T wash or whatever Q was referred to as the inside term. It keeps us busy. It keeps us not thinking about this stuff, and they're setting up these deals and these apparatuses. And it's evil wants control. Once again, good versus evil. Evil wants control, and it's continuing to do that. So all these things that we're talking about has to do with, keeping us, not only distracted, but taking control.
Adam Frank said, Trump is our answer to the attack we've been subjected to our entire lives. Absolutely. He is a beachhead to a war that may happen. That's why it's important to prepare. Yeah, I mean, if we weren't preparing, then we would be dummies, I mean, like, we've got to prepare as a country. We've got to be prepared as people. We have to know that these evil things exist out there, and if we're not working together to get rid of them, then it's absolutely, it's at our own peril. I believe that's what we do as a movement. I believe that what President Trump is doing right now, by surgically taking out the person responsible for so many horrible things, he is, ensuring the safety and security of the people of not only America, but the rest of the world. And Social Observer said, how many sleeper cells are Clown Mossad controlled? I have no idea. Probably plenty. And then Concrete Washhead said 2020 Minnesota will go red. This is getting back to the, making justice great again. I wanted to touch on the new sealed indictment count. We're almost at 150,000 guys. 150,000 sealed indictments, guys. 142,275, over 5,000 new sealed indictments added in the month of December. What do you think about that, Methods?
I think it's great. I think that we need to consider that they could be a lot. No, I'm not a law. I'll just use the word fairy. But they do have to do with a lot of different layers, but also one case can be multiple people. But the fact that those numbers are things that we've never seen before lets you know that a lot of things are going on behind the scenes. But what we're getting at about this tentacles thing is that all these things kind of connect and intertwine. Mm-hmm. So businesses work with other businesses in other countries that do this, that, and the other. And it becomes a point where you have a case for this and a case for that. And they all kind of build up on all each other. But this idea of having this many it's incredible.
You know, Social Observer said, "What if exposing the cells really drains the swamp?" I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So now we've responded to what the Revolutionary Guard had done in the Middle East. Whatever cells exist here in the United States or anywhere else, they would immediately begin chatting about that. Don't you think, Methods? That would cause a reaction from them. And because we have all of those indictments, okay, so we've got all these extras that we've added. How many more of those do you think could possibly be from these cells operating within the United States? Now, we've already gotten the indictments on them. We get the reaction from them as a result of what happened with Soleimani. That gives us an opportunity to just go in and sweep out the room.
Why do you think Barr's been paying so much attention to the local level?
Yes.
In the U.S., like he wanted to make a point about that, and even brought up Soros, because he's a major player in a lot of this. No, the state level is that important because you are dealing with things in real time. You're having local police, FBI stuff, trying to focus on these things, because there's always been talk, even amongst the movement, even before Q. People who research this, is how many sleeper things are there really here in America alone everywhere else. So the idea of keeping tabs on this, I'm sure Soleimani's death definitely got chatter going on, but we're focusing on these things in real time because we got to stop them at the border that are trying to get it now, because we don't know what kind of information they're trying to pass along, what FF they want to do, and we just have to keep an eye on it.
Right. And this is, I typed in 974, but it's 947. The post from 15th of March, 2018. Iran next, and then empty kill box. RT days after. RT Kenya. No coincidences. Track important. So, does this look to you like it was predicting the actions in Iran, and then immediately thereafter the action that we just saw today in Kenya?
I definitely, that perked my interest, activated my almonds, for those that understand the lingo, about that, because it is kind of, crazy that Kenya was brought up. But if you follow where it goes down to, the last thing before the boom with so many exclamation points is MB,
exactly.
Muslim, which we know is Muslim Brotherhood, which I know where you're going, Red Pill, with this, because Muslim Brotherhood is such an important factor that can literally have the light shined on it through this Iran stuff happening now. Because through the digging with, once again, the great researchers that I get the opportunity to work with, we went down that path today. And I think I tweeted out something about it. But the idea, do you want me to go ahead and go there?
Go for it, dude. Yeah.
Okay. The idea of Muslim Brotherhood, there's always been research that's been discussed, and rumors and theories about the Muslim Brotherhood, being involved in the Obama administration. And it's not that hard to make certain connections, like Huma Abedin, something like that, connections of people that were born in Iran or have a lineage of Iran and all that stuff, or even
Valerie
out
Jarrett.
there, Egypt, anything that has to do with that. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hey, I want to say hi to Neon. Neon's here. Neon just dropped it. MB ties to the worst guy in the world.
So, what we found in our digging today, that the Muslim Brotherhood wanted, as back in 2014 even, and I'm sure there's been plenty of other circumstances, they had a meeting. They had a meeting with the IRGC, which is the military that Soleimani was involved in until we sent him to hell. And they wanted to have a meeting in the specific part of the meeting, and they also didn't want Soleimani there. Iran was going to send Soleimani, but they realized how high profile he was, which lets you know that they wanted this private the best they could. They just didn't know that there was a spy in there that was gathering this information. And the idea was to how can they deal with Saudi Arabia? Because I would tell people, if you ever want to understand, because we're not even gonna have time to get into it, I still need to research, is the Iran as compared to Saudi Arabia and their conflicts, because they're kind of at it with each other to a degree. I mean, go down the road of maybe a Khashoggi and you'll understand it a little bit. But they wanted to have an alliance that dealt with Saudi Arabia, dealt with the United States, and dealt with Israel, because of their mutual hatred for things about them and the control. They understood they needed the control of those things. One thing I will get at, because Red Pill asked me to get into it, even though I wasn't sure about it. The nickname for the IRGC is the Pasdarian. It's actually, I think, a town out there or something like an area around there, but that's what they would refer to as the IRGC. So, the whole answering to P thing, I know there's been different decodes of that. That made me curious. Talking to other people earlier about it made us curious, because if we're answering the P and the C, chair or whatever, it's just another word to consider, because there's so much focus on this Iran stuff, and when we're considering now the Muslim Brotherhood's involved, all these, how important the IRGC is, because that's the military arm of what's going on with this. I'll just use the word evil happening over there. So you tie it from Muslim Brotherhood wanted to work with the IRGC, and I'm sure they have. There's been rumors that they have. They tried to put out things through the media that it didn't work out. I don't believe that. So you tie it to the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, do you want to go into where the Muslim Brotherhood got started?
Yeah, this is a heavy one, and I saw Patrick in the chat said, go to any Middle Eastern country and you'll see that they are nothing, that we're biting on fake news, but we're following that thread where it leads. And I just want to say, does P equal Pasdaran? I don't know, but Pasdaran, like Method said, that refers to the informal name for the Revolutionary Guard. I think it's a compelling idea, and I would be, I don't think it would be fair if we didn't put it out there. I know that P, has pretty much been defined by a lot of people, but I don't know that that's what it is. I mean, I think as researchers, we owe it to ourselves to ask these questions. But yeah, let's go ahead and make your comment on this, and then we'll follow that thread back to where it leads.
Okay, yeah. So just to make it clear with everybody here, it's not Pasdarian because Methods and Red Pill said so.
No,
that's where we have it, and like now we have it in the P kill box as a question mark next to it, because it does show up with that. We'll see where it leads with Q talking how Q does. It is what it is. But as far as so the Muslim Brotherhood, there was some more research going into it, and I'll keep it very kind of like vague and surface level, because there's enough researchers out here that can run with it.
Yeah, and that's I just want to say too, this is what we want you guys to do. I mean, we're not trying to give a whole bunch of sauce tonight. We're putting stuff out there, and I would love it if you guys go and do your own research on this stuff and bring it back to us. And it's not because we're lazy; it's already happening. But just for the sake of the format of the show, go ahead.
Yeah, and we're also you are now getting to where we are at now, so you're literally researching with us in real time.
Yeah.
The Muslim Brotherhood, what we found interesting is that we found a lot of different, publications and stuff making the claim that the Muslim Brotherhood got started, and the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood who founded it admired Hitler, admired what they were doing. Obviously, they had the same, they both hated Jews, all that stuff. You can consider that, Muslim Brotherhood being like an Egypt area type thing, they would be closer to Israel. So it would be, it would make sense as well, because what we're finding is that it's believed that Hitler was helping fund the Muslim Brotherhood to get started decades ago. Seen it in some publications that we came across today saying that because of all those things. And there's also reports out there that the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood got a copy of Mein Kampf translated to his language, and even wanted to have that book, just admired him so. And Hitler had reached out apparently and wanted to work with them. So if you want to tie these things back around to the Nazi symbolism that Q's referred to, and then take it down all the way to Iran with the Muslim Brotherhood working with the IRGC, and then take the Muslim Brotherhood into the Obama administration, and then think about everything that was being worked on, because we know the Iran nuclear deal was garbage. It was let's put sanctions on them, and we're okay, fine, they'll give in and they won't do the nukes, and here's some money. That narrative is completely garbage. Just go watch the Kerry clip I tweeted out. Think about what difference does it make? The Hillary comment about Benghazi, when Iran's tied to that. This was the point all along. And if you want to tie it back to all these lineages, this was planned and needed to happen in the way that it did for it to work. And if Hillary had won, could you only imagine what would be happening next?
Absolutely.
So Trump understanding all these things to a degree, which I'm sure he understands it better than all of us combined, knew he had to run. He probably would be the only one that could have ran to get to this point and stop this. And that's why I believe Q got started, to get us all connected, paying attention. Y'all didn't know about him. Methods didn't exist when Q started. Red Pill 78 didn't exist. And the idea of now we're this connected, paying attention to literally everything, decoding things that most of the time might not even be true, but the world is seeing us do that. And it's like, we're going to look at everything you do. And so, yeah, it's a crazy tie-in, man.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, saying that P equals pay sewer. I'm not saying it doesn't. I do believe that there has been more than one initial that's been used by our favorite Anon on the boards that had multiple meanings. So, I mean, we've been talking about Iran in terms of these drops for a long time. So, why is it a problem for us to ask the question if it could also mean that? Or, whatever. I mean, I don't want people to get their panties in a bunch over it. We're just spitballing. This is how we research. This is what we do. I need to say thank you to Don Key. He asked if we caught the post from the 15th, which we just went over. No coincidences. Almost like predicting the future on the Ides of March. I absolutely believe it. EO2 Dave says, do we know drones still searching out west? Gosh, I haven't heard any updates on that, you guys. And it's something that I wanted to go over this weekend, but I was unable to get any more details on it. What I did hear, and this is pure conjecture because I have not seen any sauce on it, was that there was some missing, packages, we'll say, nuclear packages, which came up missing in an audit. And that's what they were using those drones to look for. But I can't back that up, so I don't want anybody to, quote me on it. But I wanted to, just put it out there in case anybody else did have any info that they can send us. And then also, Leah Worth said, LT just gave me a heart on my comment earlier. Can't wait for indictments and open up in Illinois. Barr got off Air Force One after POTUS. That's great. I love seeing that they're hanging out together. LT, another big friend of the channel, and we know. Dana Finkler said, great work, Red Pill. Keep up the great work, Red Pill and Methods. Thank you for that, Dana. Nicolette, New York Teddy Bear, thank you for that sticker. Let's see. And then Janet F. hashtag Awan Spies in Congress. The Annette Cividane's YouTube channel has amazing detailed info on the war underground. Please watch it. I will check it out. Otis on time says, I do like the channel, and a thumbs up. Well, thanks, Otis. I appreciate it. Elizabeth G., thank you for joining as a member. Jersey Deanne, thank you for the super chat. Todd Varner, the same. And then Social Observer says, I'm not 100% a Q guy, but if it was a real societal deprogramming thing, they would have to be using Project Looking Glass, right? This is something that Methods and I differ on. Because, I am open to the idea of Project Looking Glass being a real thing. Now, the only reason I don't say that, yes, I believe it is because I don't have any proof of it. We have firsthand witnesses who have come forward, multiple, who say that it is real and that they themselves either worked on it or, had something to do with it. I think it's a lot of fun to talk about. And the idea that it's being used is amazing to me. I think that it's possible when we look at the way things have played out. I think that if that exists, then yeah, I think that it's probably a really good thing that our government and President Trump is using it. Methods, I mean, do you even think that it's a possibility that this thing could exist?
Oh, I mean, it's not as much as we disagree as much as I haven't been able with the other things I'm working on. Because there's a lot of deep dives happening behind the scenes,
right,
that I haven't been able to dig into Project Looking Glass enough to have an opinion and sit here, and say, it's this or it's that, because I've seen enough things for it to be different stuff. I mean, there was the old newspaper, screen cap of Project Looking Glass being, putting PORN on people's computers to be able to have them in control and arrest them at any point. That was something that was going on. I can't remember the decade. I'm sure people could find it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just saw enough in the meantime. And if people pay attention to how I work, I try to give as much attention as I can in the moment. Something else happens, I chase a butterfly.
Right.
And I always have like a dig that's going in real time that I'm staying on. But when 3 or 4 things come up at once, I give it what I can and then hope somebody else can, fill me in later.
Right.
So as far as that goes, I could not do an hour show about Project Looking Glass.
No. I mean, I could. I've done a couple of them already, but
Right.
I'm very interested in it. Somebody asked, how do we vet a rumor? I have 4,500 of my friends watching the program right now, and I have had real military and government insiders with actual intelligence and information and things that I can sauce and can prove come to me and Methods with that information. So on more than one occasion, I've asked the audience if they can help us out with figuring something out. We've been able to do that. And if it is just a rumor, then there won't be any way to do that because nobody will have the sauce on it.
Right. We present it as a rumor. And especially like I get away with things because I tweet things.
Yeah.
You do shows. So you have to make sure you choose your words carefully. So we're not pushing, it's a rumor, but like this whole, P equals whatever.
Yeah.
I get away with things on tweets. Like there's a lot of things that like I almost click tweet because I'm close to it. I'm like, I can't sauce this enough. Let me just put it aside and chase a different butterfly and see if that happens. But yeah, no. So to answer your question, we do the best we can, and we have a bunch of people that send us great stuff. We work a lot of things, and we also lurk what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
and it might put a piece to something else that we figure out, and we go from there. So it's where we just go through things like everybody else does.
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing I want to stress. We are humans, and with the speed of the news and the volume of information that we're trying to, help get out there, things are going to change. We're going to maybe think one thing the next day. Perhaps we've got a theory one day and it's a working theory, and then we learn some new information and it changes. But I mean, I do apologize if maybe it conflicts with something that we learn in the future, but, we're not going to lie about it. We're going to tell you, hey guys, this is a theory and that's how we're working on it. And, I hope that everybody understands that. I think that some people are not as forgiving when it comes to it, but whatever. I mean, if you're going to get your panties in a bunch because you don't understand the way this works, then, it's okay. You don't have to watch. I am very, very happy to have the audience that we have and to, have essentially, I think of this as a team of researchers. I mean, it is all of us together working together. And, I appreciate all the messages that we get. I appreciate all the comments and the way that people interact with us. And I got to tell you, one of the hardest things about this Methods is the fact that I can't interact with everybody. It actually bothers me sometimes because I get so many good messages from people that care, that take the time. And I just want everybody to know that if I don't respond to you, it's not because I don't care. It's not because, I don't want to. I'm not paying attention because I read as many of these messages as I can. And I'm looking at Twitter. I'm talking about my emails. I'm talking about the comments on the videos. Sometimes tens of thousands of individual messages a day. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. Real quick, I just need to do a couple of these. February Kel says, thank you, M3, RP, White Hat, et al. Thanks for helping the rest of us out with the connections. We all should do what we can, etc. I'm volunteering at the local level, GOP, to help get our dim congressperson out. Good for you. Kate Pickram says, keep praying Patriots. United we stand. Douglas Richard Moomey says, Tulsi is live right now. 1,000 watching. RP and Methods live. 4,500 watching. We are the news now. That's so great.
I love it.
Gypsy North Kathy says, please ask where the dumb survivors are. I now believe the Looking Glass and JFK Jr. may be the big. Yeah, I don't know. Dumb survivors. Do you mean like deep underground military base survivors? Perhaps it's in relation to that video that somebody was mentioning about the underground war. Martin Benavides says, did you see the magazine on the rifle picture? Yes, that's what I wanted to show people. It's Hillary behind bars. Thank you. Lindsay Lass says, RP Methods, thank you for your collaboration. Please give info about Revolution Q by Neon Revolt. Yeah, everybody needs to buy a copy of Revolution Q by Neon Revolt. I believe it's going into its second printing here before too long. But it's now actually available for sale. You can get it on Amazon. I believe if you go to Neon Revolt's website, then you can get a copy there. It'll take you to Amazon, but it's the same thing. Schlipdog says, mind open on Looking Glass. Really appreciate your guys' work. Thanks for sharing. Thumbs up. Appreciate that. And then finally, Social Observer says, have you done an interview with the Edge of Wonder Boys? Yes, I have, Social Observer, and hopefully I'm going to be coming on their program soon. I can tell you I've got a lot of collaborations coming up in the very near future. Hopefully I'm going to be on with Adam and Dex at Marfugal News and Marfugal TV. They're going to be here, I believe, on the 24th. We've got the Fall Brothers coming back in a couple of weeks. We've got Black Conservative Patriot coming up. Just tons and tons of people, you guys. So, Methods, we got 1 minute left, man. I'm sorry I rambled for a little bit there, but is there anything that you want to leave the audience with tonight?
I guess because this is our first show, and we talked about this before with we had to talk about the Iran stuff. Red Pill and I wanted to create a night where we just have these conversations with you guys. Sometimes we'll be bringing guests on, to hang out and just chat with them. I mean, we do this already, behind the scenes and discuss things and debate things and come to conclusions. We'd love to do this publicly. I mean, getting back to that point of not being able to answer messages, my DM in Twitter is riddled and I feel bad, but I literally can't get to it with everything else that I'm doing at times. So the idea of doing this publicly and hanging out with all you guys is great. Having 4,500 people here, just hearing our opinions, even if you don't agree with them, we want you to know where we stand or, where things go. So we wanted to have this night to where it's not necessarily breaking news. We'll talk about anything and we'll bring on people to talk about what they want to talk about. But that's what this show is going to be about. And we want to do this. We want to be regular. We've also discussed changing the time of when we go on because of our international patriots. Somebody brought it up earlier. If we were to start a couple hours earlier, then we could, the international patriots that, follow us and want to listen and all those things. So we might change that. So keep an eye on that. I'll definitely tweet it. I know Red Pill will cover it.
Yeah.
But this show is going to be about hanging out with you guys and talking about whatever. And I'm so grateful that we had 4,500 people show up on our first night. I love all of you guys.
This is a bang up job, you guys. I really appreciate everybody coming here. If we do change the time, you guys, we're thinking 5 p.m. Eastern because that would be like 10, 11 o'clock for people in Europe. It would be a little bit earlier, obviously, for people on the West Coast, but I hopefully that's a good median time where everybody can come together and, maybe we can have 10,000 people here on a live stream. I mean, imagine how that would be, Methods. That would be great. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who came to hang out with us on our first show, Comfy Sunday. You guys are awesome. And thank you, Methods, for agreeing to do this with me, bro. You're one of my best friends, and I'm proud to be standing here along with you in this fight for freedom.
Nothing but love, brother. And
all right,
we'll keep going with it. So everybody have a good night.
Definitely. You guys, peace out. We'll talk to you soon.